At this point, I think I personally, this is not a you thing, this is a me thing, I personally am going to have to accept that there are going to be so many things that pop up in and around the Vancouver Canucks organization, in between teams, in between trade rumors, in between players. Everybody's going to be talking about different things, and I have to accept that I don't think I can make a video about every single thing. There's just too much stuff going on about this damn team. Heading into the Four Nations Face-Off tournament, heading into the trade deadline, it's going to be exciting for the Vancouver Canucks, baby. But just to head over some form of structure, we are going into Elliotte Friedman's recent commentary on the Vancouver Canucks. Most of this is from 32 Thoughts. We will leave a link in the description if you want to go ahead and listen to the show, but also linked in the description is our ExpressVPN affiliate page. Go out there and check out Express if you want some savings on your VPN, you want to get some free months, and you want to help out the channel all in the process. It's all down there with Express. But let's go over to a few tweets that I had bookmarked here that go over Elliotte Friedman's recent comments on the Vancouver Canucks. He talks about the Brock Boeser contract negotiations and how they don't sound all too optimistic. And you know what? One of the actual replies, I actually think this is pretty good. Given the salary cap forecast, that may have changed things. Who really knows? With the cap going up to $100+ million over the next 2-3 years, does it open the door for a Boeser extension that's actually in line with what he wants? I'm not really too sure. Friedman also called out the Canucks for no one going after Karlsson's first goal on Wednesday. Hughes, Meier, Pettersson, and Höglander, all of them let the guy down. If you didn't see this little note from the Nashville game, you would have seen Linus Karlsson score his very first NHL goal. Beautiful assist from Hughes and Myers. But after the goal goes in, all of the guys just go to the bench. None of these four go out there and grab the puck. In fact, it was the referee that went out there and grabbed the puck. He made sure to switch it out, and then it's like, okay, this is Karlsson's first NHL goal puck. Vancouver, y'all gotta keep this. And it was a very good showcase of dedication to the game and sportsmanship from the ref. Like, of course, the ref doesn't need to go out there and do anything like this. The players, it's probably their responsibility to make sure that the guy gets his first goal puck. Friedman specifically called out all of those guys for not doing that for Karlsson. There also was a bigger summary on Canucks news summaries about Elliotte Friedman and 32 Thoughts, all the stuff that he had said. So let's dive into some of the conversations over here. He talks about Brandt Clarke and the LA Kings, which we don't need to talk about in this commentary. We already spoke about the idea of Brandt Clarke getting moved in a prior video. But in regards to the Vancouver Canucks, this is what Elliotte Friedman goes out there and talks about. The Sabres are still working their way through what they want to do with Elias Pettersson. Okay, so Petey and Sabres talk. The Blue Jackets can trade for Pettersson if they want to. Elliotte Friedman says he can see them looking at what they're building and being hesitant to trade, though. Teams are betting that wherever Pettersson ends up, he will be better off. So, before we dive into the Rutherford interviews, I wanted to talk about these 3 points so far. Buffalo, Columbus, two teams that are directly involved with the Elias Pettersson trade conversation. We had already spoken about Buffalo and how they have been given the green light to Kevin Adams to explore this sort of a move. But Columbus, they're able to make this trade if they want to. Everybody's been freaking out on my social media about Columbus returns, whether or not that's a Kent Johnson or a Cole Sillinger or whatever. I think the two pieces that Vancouver Canucks fans are absolutely salivating over if a trade with Columbus goes down, you've got one, maybe Kirill Marchenko, and number two, Adam Fantilli. I think one of those two guys needs to be included for Canucks fans to feel satisfied with the trade. I'm not saying that's what needs to be included for the trade to be fair. I'm saying that's what Canucks fans would need in order to get this trade to a meaningful place. Because if it's just Kent Johnson and some draft picks for Pettersson, I don't think a lot of Canucks fans would be happy about that. Who knows? Maybe that's the actual market price. Maybe that's what Rutherford and Alvin are okay with. But I'm telling you right here, I've been seeing a lot of Canucks fans pissed off with the idea of Kent Johnson being the main piece as a return in an Elias Pettersson trade. There would have to be some extra stuff in there. But ultimately, if it's like Adam Fantilli, plus, then okay, I can live with that. If it's Kirill Marchenko plus a little bit more, I can live with that. Even if it is Kent Johnson, I mean, I'm honestly okay with Johnson heading over to Vancouver, but I do think that Johnson by himself, or Johnson plus, it would have to be a pretty big plus. So Blue Jackets hockey getting involved here on Elias Pettersson. That is where Elliotte Friedman talks about the direction here. Teams are betting that wherever Pettersson ends up, he'll be better off. Yeah, I honestly don't disagree with that idea either. Pettersson has been struggling in Vancouver. He's been struggling with Miller. So if Elias Pettersson were to go to another team that actually gives him the moon and the stars, I honestly do think he'll probably do all right. It's just, is this really the kind of guy that can lead a Vancouver Canucks team to a championship? I'm not really too sure at this point. We can dive into some other commentary here, though, before we expand upon that. Elliotte Friedman spoke about Jim Rutherford. He thinks that Jim Rutherford's interviews were a message to the market. Be prepared for trades, and it might not be as good as a return as you like or think. Both Miller and Pettersson have nearly been traded once each, Miller to the Rangers and Petey to the Hurricanes. Miller has opened up the places he's willing to go, Friedman says, looking for a good situation and a contender. Friedman also says on Miller, if the Colorado Avalanche's interest in Miller was real, he doesn't think that Miller would reject a trade there for geographical reasons. In Miller's case, the Canucks have a trade available right now if they wanted to do it. Friedman also thinks there's going to be a lot of Buffalo talk, and they have some big decisions to make. The Pettersson rumors are all a part of that. Friedman doesn't sound optimistic about re-signing Brock Besser, and Friedman also spoke about how players did not react to Karlsson's first NHL goal, and that bothered Kyle Bukauskas as well. So, these are the Elliotte Friedman 32 Thoughts podcast notes about the Vancouver Canucks from earlier today. It is interesting to hear that the Canucks apparently do have enough of a package of a return for JT Miller that if they wanted to make the trade right now, they could do it. He doesn't say which team is the team. I think there might be some sort of insinuation that maybe Colorado could be that, but either way, there is a lot of interest for Miller, a lot of interest for Pettersson. Seems like Columbus and or Buffalo are right in the thick of it here. Elliotte Friedman going out there and dropping some bombs on 32 Thoughts. Let's go out there and read some of the extra commentary here. Satyar Shah went out there and posted this on Twitter earlier this morning. If Pettersson and Miller had their act together, the Canucks would be well positioned salary-wise long-term, with the cap increasing exponentially. Alas, here we are. Then an interesting reply, Gary Mason, the guy who ended up posting the article about Jim Rutherford. Maybe Rutherford brings these guys together. Stranger things have happened. And I do think that maybe, just maybe, the Rutherford interview, how he decided to talk about his players, how he called out the rift, how he acknowledged everything that's been going on negatively with this team, maybe that was all a calculated move to bring these guys together, to mend the wounds, and to just get this team back to a place where they can be successful. The Canucks have won 3 games in a row. Sure, as Thomas Drance has been talking about, the Canucks have been playing some coin flip hockey. But, coin flip or not, they've still gotten the wins. And at the end of the day, as Connor Garland said in the Canucks versus Blues post-game press conference, not even press conference, just kind of a scrum, when JT Miller scores goals, he's happy. And so if JT and Petey can both just start to produce more, who knows? If they are good enough to stay with this team, like they're actually able to fix everything, which at this point I don't think it's possible considering the fact that this rift has gone on for multiple years, Satchaw's right here. Hey, the cap's going up a lot. Miller at 8 and Petey at 11.6 would be great for the caliber of talent that they can provide if you get 100 point scorers out of both of those dudes. But unfortunately, they're both on pace for some of the worst seasons they've ever had. So let me know your thoughts in the comments section below about Elliotte Friedman speaking out about Miller in Colorado. He also spoke out about Pettersson and Columbus. What are your thoughts on these trade updates? What are your thoughts on these conversations? Let me know in the comments, how do you feel about all the Friedman talk? I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.